Hello, and welcome to Haskell's fourth edition of the Spring 2011 Haskell News. I'm Kyle Britt. The Wetland Preservation Organization is continuing its Eco Walk project in Wakarusa Wetlands. Ricky Barkowski has more on the story.
North of 31st Street and south of the Haskell campus lie the Wakarusa Wetlands. Although not known to many, these wetlands hold historical, cultural, and ecological significance to Haskell and to a larger degree the state of Kansas. The Wetlands Preservation Organization, which is mostly made up of Haskell and KU students, has a goal to raise awareness of this area.
We're trying to build a boardwalk or an eco-walk, an eco-friendly boardwalk, kind of like what they have on the Baker side of the wetlands, but on our side, because it's split into two parts, the Wakarusa wetlands. Baker owns 325 acres of the wetlands, and we own 25, and that's a different story. But what we're trying to do is, because they have a boardwalk and like an information center and pamphlets and like a little area for people, and like a gazebo and all these things that makes theirs look nice, and it attracts tourism, and people appreciate it more, it seems like. But ours, since it's right next to the school and it's a lot less hard to get access to, it's just kind of right there, and it looks like students don't really treat it properly. People will be out there drinking. They don't give it the respect it deserves.
The Wetlands Preservation Organization wants this Eco Walk to bring in visitors. They want to help educate people on the importance of preserving the wetlands, not only from an environmentalist standpoint, but also for the sake of keeping the history of Haskell alive.
Well, right from the earliest days when it opened up, this wetland became important to those who were trying to resist the federal government's efforts at draining all the Indianness out of the students who were brought here. I mean, that was its original mission. And that coincided with an enormously important chapter in Native American history, the allotment system and the Dawes Act. This was a time when Haskell students really could get no news about what was going on during a time that was really tumultuous back in the reservations. They were all being shrunk down, and enormous impact on their cultures. And the only way they got any news that wasn't totally filtered was through the campground that was down there on the banks of the Wakarusa River, where the parents came to try to get the children home for a vacation or to get a visit with them.
The Wetlands Preservation Organization has been in court in order to prevent the city from filling in the wetlands and building a road. This is Ricky Barkowski, Haskell News.
The Haskell Voices and Club Mixer event was held at Stidham Hall. It was a very relaxed atmosphere at the event. Students enjoyed mixers and kebabs sold by the art club as they watched the performers and visited with some of the other clubs on campus. We asked Taylor Haynes what he thought of the event.
The mixer / Haskell Voices was okay. I mean, the snow kind of ruined it, but I mean, Haskell Voices always has great events. I remember back in the day, Haskell Voices used to just, it was awesome. And, it's just the snow. The snow ruined it. So. If the snow hadn't come out, there would have been a lot of people.
Though the weather was uncooperative, it was still an enjoyable evening for the students. Student activities held a comedy hypnosis show with hypnotist Brad Clark in the auditorium. Elena Strobel has more on the story.
Hypnotist Brad Clark brought a very entertaining evening to Haskell students at the auditorium. Volunteers were selected to be hypnotized. Audience members who weren't selected that wished to also be hypnotized were welcome to participate in their seats. Some of the volunteers couldn't stay in their hypnotic states and were asked to exit off the stage. After a few students had exited, the participating audience members were asked to come on stage and be a part of the show.
Simple tool like a belt, and we turn it into a snake. Have you ever seen one of these before? Here, I got it, but as long as I got control. Come here, dude, come on. Come here, stand right here. Stand right here. Stand here, put your hands down your side. Face the audience, face that way. Don't move, stand still, don't frighten him. Don't frighten him, he's all right, he's all right. Bo, and Eric, you're doing a great job over there. That's... All right, come on, you may want to come around here in front. Come around in front. That's it. Come on around. Come on around. Oh, don't let his head go down like that. Oh, all right. Oh, yeah, yes. You're doing good. All right. Bo, I think you and Eric a big hug. He just saved me. He just took that. I got it. It's doing good. There you go. That's a big hug. Close and stop.
The fun continued even after the show when the volunteers couldn't leave unless someone said their name.
Helen.
This is Elena Strobel reporting for Haskell News.
In Washington, the Obama administration announced last month that it will no longer defend the federal ban on same-sex marriage, otherwise known as the Defense of Marriage Act. Here's what some of the students at Haskell had to say on the subject.
I think it is time. It's like overdue for that to happen.
Okay.
So hearing about it, I think it's great. I think it gives same-sex couples great opportunities and for a long time. And they should have had it a while ago. I mean, they deserve every right that everyone else does.
Population tends to grow larger, and people tend to come out of the closet because this issue is wide open now. I could see it probably leaning towards that way where it will be more socially acceptable. I feel like everybody should have their own privacy, and your sexual preference is very much a part of our privacy. So there's a time process, and I don't think it's going to happen overnight. And this issue it wasn't developed last night, and it's not going to be resolved tomorrow night. So we have a long ways to go in a lot of different areas, and just being gay and liberal is not the only one issue.
The Bureau of Indian Affairs is in the crosshairs of one Senator, Rand Paul. Philip Hula has a story on how it could affect Haskell and its students.
A senator representing Kentucky, Rand Paul, is targeting federally funded programs that support Native Americans in hopes of helping pull the U.S. out of its incredible debt. Maurice Spalla commented on the proposal.
Affect me not only my education, but through the clinic that's here on campus. I wouldn't be able to afford to go off campus to get any kind of health care. So it would affect me in all ways, from my education to my health. So it would affect me greatly as a student.
A lack of understanding of Native treaties and violating them is how tribal law instructor Lucia Orth describes the proposal.
Indian law basically said for all the promotion of the Constitution by this new Congress and the Republicans there, who they read the Constitution before this session started, to not understand that the Indian treaties come directly from the Constitution, where even the early ones were even approved in the Constitution, is ignoring the obligations that the U.S. has under the Constitution. This isn't charity. This is an obligation.
If the proposal goes through, Senator Rand Paul will have cut almost half of the Indian Health Service budget and eliminating all funding for the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Philip Hula, Haskell News.
Thanks again for watching this edition of Spring 2011 Haskell News. I'm Kyle Brent. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Thank you.